無限大な夢の後の何もない世の中じゃそうさ愛しい思いも負けそうになるけど
Hello everyone, and welcome to Digimon Manga Special 12 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May, and as always, I'm joined by two special guests.
I'm Sporky, and I guess I'm going first.
And I'm Sam, and I'm going second.
Coolios, and we are recording at a better time this week. It's morning for May and nighttime for everyone else, I believe, or afternoon.
Yeah, it's 6 p.m.
It's midnight. It's fine.
That's still a not great time for Sam, but
Well, I'm normally awake till 6-7 in the morning anyway, so this is early night for me.
Okay, I'm usually in bed by 9.
Oh, I wish I was in bed at 9.
I can't help it. Sometimes I'm in bed by 3 p.m. It's an issue. Anyway, so we'll probably just jump into the synopsis unless you guys have any more introduction things to say.
No.
Coolios. Chapter 13 begins with Trailmon getting into the tunnel, but we find out Zambamon is also in the tunnel, and Tsurugi says that he'll fight even though Zambamon is an ultimate level, and then he tells the others to find an overseer. So we're seeing real, actual leadership from Tsurugi, and it's just he's showing bravery, and he's basically saying, yeah, we'll probably die and get murdered, but y'all can be safe.
Especially as they're approaching Zambamon, his Tsurugi's Digivice is it's got the DP, which is their power level, and it's essentially going up and up and up and up and up, but eventually it just says error, which means that he knows he's fighting an opponent that's so powerful.
Yeah, and it's definitely the strongest they've seen.
It is officially over 9,000.
Wow, true.
Yes.
It's a canon
I wasn't
fact.
going to make that joke, but I guess say it's over 9,000.
Greymon attacks, and Zambamon is just able to simply cut through the flames, and then cuts Greymon into 4 pieces, so he devolves into Koromon, which is just I'm glad.
Kind of horrifying.
I'm glad that worked out for Greymon, because I'm pretty sure that if he was just a monster of the week, that would have killed him, right?
Yeah, I think it would kill anybody who wasn't a protagonist.
Yeah.
I think Zambamon says something about him surviving because he's an illegal.
Oh, yeah.
Which I believe.
Yeah, that does ring a bell. I didn't write it in my notes, but that does sound familiar. And it's just and that's also a really good way.
I'm slowly scrolling through. I'll get to it in a second. One sec.
It's just
yeah, he says that that you survived. It must be because you are an illegal. That would have killed anybody else.
Yeah, and that's just I feel like that's a really good way of just wiping off something that's could be seen as plot convenient. I feel like if Jay was here, he'd say, he'd ask that question, be like, why is Greymon not dying? Because he's an illegal. I'm like, fair enough. I feel like that's a pretty good reason.
It's still plot convenient, but at least it's one with some backing.
Tsurugi is brave again and grabs onto Zambamon. He's showing some true bravery grabbing on, and it reminds me almost of when in Adventure when Joe jumps on Unimon. We don't often see, besides Masaru obviously and Sabers, we don't often see the children actually jumping on the monster who can kill them.
Yeah, there's Joe and Taichi, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, and Masaru. Always Masaru.
Oh, yeah.
But Masaru is a special case because he actually punches the Digimon.
That's his thing.
And it's not just a one-off thing that he just does it every episode, just what he does. Zanzabomon's attack cracked into the ceiling and it caves in, but this means that Tsurugi and Koromon can get away. Trailmon is getting completely shot up, but Trailmon's really dedicated and saying, no, I must get the passengers to their destination, it's my purpose. And this is
I mustn't run away.
It's kind of a sad moment.
Yeah, that's true.
He's
it's the little engine that could. I think I can.
And it's he evolved, and it's just this is it's his purpose. It's his whole entire being is my passengers have to arrive to their destination, and it's just this is heartbreaking. He's struggling, but he's just it's this really heartwarming moment, and I'm having feelings about a train. Where in my life what happened in my life where it led to this moment and went so wrong?
I like the if we're going to talk about bits of art, there's one of the panels is Trailmon slamming into one of the bump stops at the end of the track.
Yeah.
It just looks really good because all the wheels are mangled and the bits that are broken, and he looks really hurt. And I just really like that shot.
Yeah, it really shows how injured he is. He's dying, but he's that's how dedicated he is to his purpose of getting his passengers there. And it's just really nice art that's just sort of heartbreaking, but it's also just so well done where we can see the actual damage. It hurts.
That's true. I really liked Tsurugi being oh my god, how did you know we'd come into this tunnel? And he's just of course you would. You were trying to escape bombing. Of course you went underground.
Yeah. Trailmon dies, and Mummymon says that he was just completely useless. And Yu gets all angry and rages again, causing Galmon to evolve, but this time he becomes Black Galgamon, and he's just huge. And then he splits into Magmon.
I love it. I love Dark
really
Evolution.
like Dark
It's great.
Evolutions.
I think I mentioned this every time it happens, but I love Dark Evolutions, and it is so good that we have seen this happen before, but because Yu is so angry now and just wants death and revenge, and he wants to kill Mummymon, it's caused this sort of dark evolution that's not just like a regular black Galgamon, but is huge.
But size-wise, a regular Galgamon is about the size of this Galgamon's paw, maybe.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And
I like it.
it's good to see, especially in Next, where emotions and Digisoul exist. Like, obviously in Adventure, they use their emotions as sort of part of what gets put into a Digimon for evolution. But in this, where Digisoul and a part of the human is used for evolution, it's great to see this, and I'm so glad they used a dark evolution. And this one is great because Black Galgamon looks so evil. It's got just white eyes, and it's got a really strong brow, and it's really angry, and it's huge. It's great.
I like that it's not a Goggle Kid one.
Yeah, and
just super rare.
Yeah, when have we actually seen a dark evolution that was, I guess, besides in Try, when have we seen a dark evolution that wasn't a Goggle Kid? Like, it's always been a Goggle Kid or something, but this time it's not. It's the kid, and I like that. And it's, I really like dark evolutions, but what's that?
What I also like is literally when Tsurugi is fighting Zubamon?
Zanzibarmon?
Zanzibarmon, yeah. When he's facing him, he says, we don't have the power to defeat an ultimate yet. And then literally the next scene, you see this really powerful, evil emotion, this rage. And Black Galgamon just wipes out Mummymon really easily, who's an ultimate. So it's that contrast of, we can't defeat an ultimate. Next scene, you are immediately shown somebody wiping out an ultimate really easily. It's great.
Well, Mummimon's just a perfect level, but there's still that big jump. And considering how easily he just obliterates Mummymon, I feel like he could also stand his own against
Oh yeah. I confused Ultimate with Ultimate and Perfect.
Welcome to
that makes sense.
Welcome to Digimon.
Welcome to Digimon. Perfect and Ultimate, but also Ultimate is Mega. Go figure. But yeah, as what Sam was saying, I really also like the concept of Digisoul, because it's just like, it basically pilots your Digimon's emotions as well, and how they evolve and how they grow and how they feel and their power levels, and it's a really great mechanic, and I'm glad that they reused the mechanic from Savers. I know it's just like, it's not original, they're using the same Digivice and the same mechanic, but I don't know, I feel like it's really good, and it relates to in Savers how he got a dark evolution because Masaru just wanted revenge and he wanted to kill Toma because he felt like he was being betrayed by Toma, and it's just this anger and this sort of need for death and revenge, and it's just, I know it's sad, but it's really well done, I think.
It also gives you like, it's almost like a conversation. It's like the tamer saying, I need this power to defeat these people, and the Digisoul is like, I will give you this power, but is this what you really want? I've given you this power, you can now defeat these people, but it's really easy, and your partner and your friend is now evil and is a big destructive behemoth, and it's like,
and you're going into a coma
but
after.
is that how you want it? Pardon?
And then he goes into a coma after. It hurts both of them.
Yeah, because it's showing that it's really powerful, but you would never use this because you wanted to use it, because probably can't anyway. You can't force this, because this is just this natural, genuine feeling of hatred, and it's not good. Like, it knocks out you, and we know that you is quite sickly, and last time this happened, he was knocked out, but like only for a couple of minutes. But since this is so intense, it seems like he's actually in a coma, and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So after that, Tsurugi arrives, and he was passed out, and Galmon has devolved to Wanyamon, and we didn't actually see Wanyamon in Digimon Savers, did we?
I don't think so.
Because I love him.
Wanyamon's cute.
Yeah, he's this little doggo ball.
You think it's a dog? It looks like a cat to me.
Oh, I just thought it was a doggo because Galmon's a dog.
I just rewatched the first episode of Atmon where, what are you, a cat? A dog?
Gashmon gets so mad. I love Atmon. Atmon's so good. More Atmon, please.
I highly recommend it. If you can understand even a little bit of French, watch the French dub. It's so good. Gashmon's adorable, and it's just as well as the Japanese version. It's really good.
I actually forgot that it was out in French and Chinese, isn't it?
I don't know about Chinese. I know it's out in French. There's a couple episodes out. Really good, really good.
I don't know any French at all. I know Je m'appelle, but that's about it.
My problem is I speak a little bit of French from when I took it in high school, but anytime I don't know a word, I fill in the Japanese word.
Oh, it's okay. All French people know Japanese.
Well, so, like, people looked at me really funny because I sometimes did that. I went to France and was like, je m'appelle Sporky Toroshimasu. And people thought I was making fun of them.
All languages that aren't English are the same, right?
In my head, yes.
We find out that Andromon is another overseer, and then in chapter 14, Andromon takes him to a secret base, and he puts you and Wanyamon in these tubes that remind me of the tubes that we saw in V-Tamer. Whenever Zero uses his overdrive, they put him in a tube and he has to heal, or because he was in battle and was injured and basically dying, they put him in a tube.
Yeah.
And I like these sort of things, because it's like, we didn't really see much
That's very neat.
Digi Hospital in the anime, and we only ever see Digi Hospital in the manga.
Yeah, I still think they should definitely make an anime of this, because it's one of the better written things in Digimon.
Yeah, and same with V-Tamer, like both V-Tamer and Next are...
The manga overall tend to be really, really good. I've read a little bit of the Cross Wars one, and that one's pretty good compared to the, especially the dub, like compared to the dub, the Cross Wars manga is so much better.
I've read a bit of the Cross Wars manga, but I haven't finished it. But I've heard from people who've read it who don't like Cross Wars, and they say that it's still a really well written manga. Like, all the manga seem to be of high quality, and it's good. Yeah. I mean, I wish the Digimon anime had so much quality, and like, to some extent we get some quality stuff from the Digimon anime, but it's just it's not quite as good as the manga sometimes.
And they're not willing to take as many risks.
And also there's less filler in the manga, I guess, because they have less time to have filler.
That's true.
Well, I suppose with, the amount of time it takes to draw a single panel, do you really want to put that much time into a story that goes nowhere?
Well, they still draw stuff in the anime.
I suppose. But then there's less people working on a manga that would do
Yeah.
There's usually just like an illustrator.
You don't really get a computer.
Well, I believe they've got an author, and I'm just reading from the cover of the manga with my limited kanji knowledge. It's got the kanji for make, so I'm assuming that means author, and then the second one has a kanji I don't know, and the kanji for picture, so I'm assuming that means illustrator. And then I believe the next one might be publisher.
That sounds reasonable.
Japanese with May. I think that's what that means.
Hey, it's how you do things.
Yeah, well, I'm level 10 on Wanikani now, so I've only got 50 levels to go.
Okay.
And like 17 levels until I can say that I know all the N4 and N5 kanji.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Which I'll know, but I'll be at level 27 by the N4 exam, so yay.
Neat.
Coolios. Angelmon explains Digisoul and negative emotions drifting into the dark area, and sort of, I feel like this expands on more of what we know from Savers. Like, we were never really explained negative Digisoul, it was always very positive, like this is an energy, but this like, oh well, negative emotions can drift your Digimon to the dark area, and Knight uses dark Digisoul, just because, so we know that Knight does not have like, or has not been using a genuine Digisoul. He's been using like this dark Digisoul, but on purpose. Like, you used it by mistake, but Knight is just able to use it.
It hurt you, but they were like, well, it's fine, he won't turn evil from just the once, but it sounds like if he did keep using it, he would.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
And we find out that Angemon has the machine Digimemory, so like, we can see kind of like a pattern, like the friend that we meet that will probably get murdered has the Digimemory of whatever area that they're in.
Makes sense.
Tsurugi wonders if he can fight Barbamon since Zanzabamon was so hard. Koromon says they will do it for the Trailmon who died. And I don't know, I really like this. Like, Tsurugi's like doubting himself. Like, he's just like, well, even though I said I could do it, it was still very scary, and Koromon died, and like, he's still scared.
Yeah.
And I like when the partner is like, no, you can do it. And it's just like, it's important that the partner gives some sort of motivation to the main character, right?
But also, like, it matches his personality quite well, because he's literally just seen his new friend get sliced into 4 pieces, then turn into a small pink blob.
Yeah.
And then they've escaped by the skin of their teeth, by random chance, basically. And now he's like, that was scary. Like, even though I'm not the one fighting, I don't want to see my friend get killed. Yeah,
and he's still like, he's 10 or 11, if I recall correctly. Like, that's a lot for a kid to see and still be like, kind of like saying, I still have to fight him, but I'm not sure if I can. Angemon tells them about Rise Greymon, who can break through a firewall and get near the demon's throne. Meanwhile, Zanzabamon's informing Barbamon that the Tamers have entered Light City, and Chaosdramon is there, who is like big flashbacks to the role play that we I'm not as active as I was, but like, I feel like I think it's moved on to a Discord, and I need to like get back in. But my character had a dark evolution with their partner, and biomerged to be Chaosdramon and killed Sam's Digimon, and was heartbreaking. So like
Chaos Dramon is like Machine Dramon, but bad, and Chaos Dramon is amazing.
yeah, I love Chaos Dramon so much, but like real feels here.
I love everything about it. It's just like the design, the color scheme, and everything about Chaos Dramon is evil, and it's great. It's just great.
Yeah, because like Machine Dramon's pretty evil on its own, but then we have Chaos Dramon. It's just like, okay, make him red, also make him look angry, make him look like someone's just like stolen his ice cream or something, because he just looks so angry.
Well, Machine Dramon seems more machine, if that makes sense. Like when you see Machine Dramon, there's no conversation. There's no light in the eyes. It's just I am doing what I'm programmed to do. Chaos Dramon, like in the version that I'm reading, Chaos Dramon swears and has this attitude.
Yeah,
and is just thinks that they're better than everybody else. And I love it. I love this cocky, like, I know I'm powerful. I will defeat everybody. It's what I do. It's what I know. And that's terrifying, especially when you look at like how Chaos Dramon is Machine Dramon, but with emotion, and that emotion is rage and anger, and I will kill everything.
Yeah, and of course, true to the name, like, it's chaos. Like, it's just... I mean, I just watched a movie called Event Horizon, which is all about chaos, and like, oh my god, that movie's terrifying. Like, I saw it like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't think about it.
Is that the one with the spaceship that goes to hell?
Yes, and people tied in with
awesome.
Warhammer 40k a lot, because there's something in Warhammer 40k called the War, and I'm just like, oh, this is just like a prequel to 40k. I'm just like, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. It's like, it's a good movie, but oh my god. And apparently it was like more disturbing. They had to cut it down because people in the test screenings like passed out.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah, so everyone, that's my recommendation. Event Horizon. But yeah, Chaos Dramon is chaos.
Oh no.
Also, I think I would like to point out probably the cutest thing, and I can imagine Sporky would have liked this. Chaos Dramon calls Noran-Chan.
Yep.
There's something cute about this.
Really good.
Like, it's this huge, angry, evil, scary monster. And just like calling Noran-Chan, like, aww.
Like the one person they care about is Noran.
Because she's adorable, wouldn't you? Like, care about her? I care about her.
Right.
Chaos Dramon messages Knight, and then we have Tsurugi being happy because he was given new clothes. I found that was really important.
Also made from Digizoid.
Oh yeah, that's a plot point later on. But yeah, oh no, he mentions it. Like Chrome Digizoid. It's the plot device that can solve everything.
Yeah, it's the plot device that could, like Hikari.
Why don't we make all the things out of Chrome Digizoid?
What if Mako is Chrome Digizoid? Guys, I've solved Try.
No one can solve Try. No one can solve it.
Well, Chrome Digizoid can do anything.
Let's see. And then we find out that Shou is the 8th child.
Oh my god, Shou is the 8th child? So Shou shows up in the digital world, and he asks Tsurugi what Digimon are to him, and Tsurugi's like, oh, they're friends. And he's like surprised that she's showing up as, because he doesn't know that he's Knight. Tsurugi says...
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how he turns up in black trousers and a black turtleneck, like long sleeve turtleneck? Can we just appreciate that for a second?
He's very bashful.
It's very Steve
It's
Jobs.
very
evil,
minimal. Like he's not showing anything to anybody. That's quite mysterious. Being like a solid block of black is quite mysterious.
No. He's cosplaying Steve Jobs.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, I like that.
And maybe he's Steve Jobs from the past. Maybe we've got to warn him about some things.
For instance, it's important to actually treat cancer.
Yeah, cancer is bad, and an apple a day won't keep the doctor away. Get it?
Anyway,
Tsurugi says
I do like this little flashback thing here.
What I like about it is that they have pen X's in the flashback.
Okay, yes.
Like,
sorry.
It's so good.
I'm trying to fix mine at the moment. I've got a 1.5 and I'm sending it to somebody to do for a YouTube thing. And it's broken. Like, it just fully broke because it's so old. The wires inside, the connectors are already frail. So they basically fell out and it started rattling inside. So I've opened it up. And I've spent a good hour and a half today trying to fix it.
Aww.
Yeah,
and then reading this. It works now, but the sound doesn't work. But that's fine. It's fine. Everything else works fine. It's okay. The sound isn't a massive thing to fix. But reading, like spending about an hour and a half today messing with a pendulum X and then reading this, and it was like, it's so good.
I love
Would
the
you
pen X.
sacrifice your soul to repair yours?
It's they're so good.
You'd have to think about it.
Like
Pardon?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Like Shou sold his soul to fix his mini.
Oh yeah.
And it was just salty, so he was easily convinced. To be fair, I'd do it.
I love that they show that Shou was a good guy by having him do a Digimon fight against some guy and then being like, okay, I won. You promised to give those kids back their Digimon cards.
Like,
But then the guy just beats the crap out of him. Because it turns out that's a thing you can do. People are not actually bound by the outcome of Digimon fights.
So
It reminds me a lot of Like, sorry, the I will fight you for these kids cards just reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh so much.
Like, yeah, it is a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty Yu-Gi-Oh.
So yeah, I also like the Pen X. Like, it's very hard though. Anyway, so Army finally remembers No Run, and it's like, how could no one not remember? Like, it was only 3 years ago.
I was going to say it's 3 years ago. That's like, so Tsurugi was 8, which means he's now 11. Army was 8 as well, so that's the same age. You, I can understand maybe because he's 6.
Yeah, like,
so he'd
be young.
Of all of them, he's quite young, so he might forget them. But if Shou's old, like Shou's the same age as the other two, so why does he remember her and then the other two don't?
I think it's just
the
so
idea, since they just met her the one time, is that it just wasn't that big a deal to anybody except for Shou, because Shou kind of fell in love.
Also,
can we talk about
yeah,
Army is wearing the angel shirt that she's wearing at the start of the first book.
She really likes the shirt.
She's just got the same shirt that she's worn for 3 years.
They're good shirts, Sam.
Also, but I think the reason why Tsurugi doesn't remember is that, like, he's kind of like a carefree kind of guy, just like, oh yeah, whatever, that was one off. Like, I live in the now.
Yeah,
makes him seem silly though. So when Army remembers them, they remember that they were all asked what Digimon are to them, and Tsurugi says partners, and they're the form of love and sweat. And Army says family. That's why I don't use them in battle. Yu says he just loves them. He's like, I love them, because he's a little kid. And Shou's like, well, they're friends. And Tsurugi says that they're his friends too. And Army says that they're her children, no, her grandchildren. So they're all trying to love, up the other one. And then Yu just says that he loves them because he's a tiny child. And Nobrun says, hey, can you promise me that you'll always fight for the Digimon? And Shou is so mad that Tsurugi forgot all this. Like, Tsurugi's like, oh, I don't really remember that. And then Shou reveals that he and Gardramon are actually Peckmon and Knight. So yes, you're right, he is the 8th child, despite there only being 4 of them.
That's fine. The rest
also,
is off screen.
Didn't number 13, because all the Gardramon have numbers. Number 13 was the one who found Shou further back. So this implies that either, it implies that they must have disposed of the original number 13 in order for Peckmon to take the form.
Oh yeah, I think they killed him. That's the impression that I got.
Straight up murdered.
Which is kind of like...
Also, Peckmon has transformation powers, apparently.
Yeah, well, I guess Shou didn't need the transformation powers. But yeah, Peckmon, I guess you can argue, because Peckmon's a ninja, that, like, he can wear... Maybe he was just inside the Gardramon, like, he'd cut out the inside of the husk or something.
Yeah,
body horror.
It's not that different from what they did with the Angemon.
Oh, that was horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I completely forgot that. That was actually just body horror, because the Digimon were ripping out of these sexy ladies. That was awful.
Well, we've even had with... no, we haven't got to it yet with Andromon. That's soon, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're now up to...
There's so much
coming.
body
We're
horror.
up to chapter 15 now, where Chaosdramon finds out the location because of Night, and Peckmon goes after Pichimon, and Tsurugi evolves Koromon straight to Greymon, which is like this really nice drawing. They just sort of like, it's Koromon, that's Agumon, that's Greymon. I know, I really like the art in this.
It's real good art. Like, there were some shots which are fantastic.
Then we get another flashback to when Shou met Barbamon, and it was because some high school bullies broke his mini because he was trying to get some stolen Digimon cards back, and Peckmon was there too, in the mini, and Barbamon said that if he uses the new mini, he will be able to transfer between the worlds freely. And meanwhile, Shou's telling Tsurugi that everything he does is for Digimon, and Tsurugi says that he's stealing lives from those who should be born too. And then he explains about Neo, and then he gets the Dark Digisoul and evolves Peckmon to Yatagaramon, which is... I know, I always have mixed feelings about Yatagaramon, because he's kind of like just a big crow with like stuff attached.
Yeah.
It's very Digimon-like. It's like, get something, attach things to it.
Yeah, I'm sort of into the darkness just kind of dripping off of him.
I like this snippet.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Shou announces, oh, this is for justice, and then Greymon's just sinking into this pit of darkness. So this is like the dark area that Andromon was talking about previously, that the Dark Digisoul sort of like gets into. Tsurugi tries to pull him out of the dark area, and this just reminds me of like a scene from Atmon when we get to Globemon.
I was going to say this is so when we first meet Globemon. Like Greymon, Geo Greymon's falling down into this nothingness, and then Tsurugi's like, I won't let you fall into it. He doesn't even say I won't let you fall into it. He says I won't let you fall into it alone.
Yeah, he jumps in.
Like, he doesn't know that they can get out. He's just like, I'm not going to let you go down there alone.
Like,
and that's just so...
I love this.
That's so cool.
It's also a bit like Ruki and Renamon diving into the Day Reaver in Tamers.
I like when a tamer puts themselves at risk to save their partner, because obviously being a human, they sort of take the sideline. They're always in the background giving the Digimon power. So I love it when we get a scene where a tamer's like, you know what, I'm just a human being, but I'm going to put myself at risk to help my friend.
And that doesn't happen that often. Like, it happened, I guess even in 02 it happened with Miyako with the skateboard and Lady Devimon, but overall it doesn't actually happen that much. I'm pretty sure Joe did it in Adventure, and Haru did it in Atmon.
Joe does it a couple of times, like especially in Try, Joe dumps it Genai.
Like, Joe should have the crest of courage. Like, Joe is just, like, most likely to punch you.
Joe's a good boy.
Although I've got to say, in a couple scenes back, I forgot to mention it, when I think it's Shou or Barbamon are talking about people mistreating Digimon, and we see all the people who, like, there's the girl with the Sukamon, so she's going to reset a Digimon. And then we also learn that Army reset her Digimon at least once. There's one of the characters there. One of them looks like Joe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm just flipping through because I need to see, because I love Joe.
It's, if I click back, it's before the...
Oh, yeah, no, I've got it.
You've got them, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, the girls were setting Sukamon, and Army's just like, oh, and then, one of the characters let the Digimon die, and the Joe just spilled water or milk onto his Digimon.
And that sounds just so like Joe. That one's an accident. The one kid fell asleep and was just lazy.
Yeah.
Army reset hers. We don't know why she reset hers, but we know she reset hers.
Maybe it became something that was
too
scary.
Out of character for her.
Yeah.
Like, that seems out of character for her.
So
yeah, I'm curious if I'll come back to that.
So it's beyond just humans mistreating their Digimon in the way of, like, resetting them. It's just, like, mistakes as well, which one of those you can, like, see, like, oh, I got a Sukamon, I'll reset it. Like, you can see that being bad, but, like, oh, I fell asleep and my Digimon died, or I spilt milk by mistake on my Digimon. Like, those are accidents. But so it's just sort of, it's beyond that sort of, like, completely understandable, like, oh, they killed their Digimon because they didn't like it.
Maybe it's they didn't treat it seriously enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's sort of fair. On the other hand, they have no idea that they're sentient beings.
Yeah, like, it's just like, oh, it's my my virtual pet. Though I do get a little bit sad when they die. Like, it's a bit, especially when you're trying to evolve them, and, like, it's gone past the days of evolution, that one day you just wake up and there's just a tombstone, cry a little bit. And Brady laughs at me because I mentioned it made me sad, and I just hear this snicker from behind me. Thanks, Brady.
Or when they're at their final level and you know that they have to die eventually, and as they get older, they need more food and more training and more care, and it's like they're getting harder and harder and harder to keep alive, and you're like, you have to give up at some point, and you don't want to. Ugh.
Oh, it's worse in the Pendulum Progress, when they start to die, like in the week of them dying, they'll start to, like, sleep more, like they'll be sleeping until like lunchtime. It's just like, oh, it's really rough when they actually implement the whole death thing as, like, a process rather than just, like, a sudden thing. It's just so we have Tsurugi and Rise Greymon rise out of the pit in, like, this dramatic sort of, like, moment. Oh, it's just so good.
I love Rise Greymon. It's one of my favourite mons. Great.
Yeah, it's like it's. I think I like him more than Metal Greymon, like the original Metal Greymon, not the original.
Metal Greymon's
a little bit. It's a little bit body horror because in the canon, Metal Greymon's supposed to, like, the virus type at least. Its skin's gone blue because its body's rotting.
Like, I think I prefer blue Metal Greymon because of that the flavor text of, like, oh, his body's rotting, but, like.
And then he turns into Machine Dramon because they've got the same claw and everything. Like, that's the one I like. So I like this is more of a. This is almost like Metal Greymon 2.0. They've done the same thing to what they did to Greymon to make Metal Greymon. They've done it better, and this one survived, and this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I like Rise Greymon more than Orange Metal Greymon, but I will always love Blue Metal Greymon. Like, he's my favourite. Then in Chapter 16, Shou is just getting more and more Dark Digisoul power, and Yatagaramon's very fast because he's even faster in the dark space. Rise Greymon captures Yatagaramon's attack and says that Shou is in pain, and he can see his heart, which is horrifying in a way. So Tsurugi sees into Shou's heart and sees how, while Shou was living by his promise to no one, Tsurugi was being carefree, and Barbamon made him the knight and sort of, like, abused that sort of the promise that Shou was living by. And Tsurugi kind of feels bad. It's just like, he was actually keeping his promise, and I was off playing football with my friends and just having fun and not really taking it seriously. Like, he liked Digimon and he took care of his Digimon, but he's just sort of, he was having fun with it. So Tsurugi says, hey Shou, you're being used, and Shou says, oh, I know. And this just reminds me again of in V-Tamer with Neo, I think his name is, and his like Taichi says, "Hey, dude, you're being used," and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know, like I'm aware of that."
Yeah.
And Shou says, "Look, I know I'm brainwashed, but it's what I wanted because Barbamon understood me, and no one else understood me, and what I was living for, and this promise that I was living by." Rise Greymon sees a dark Digicore and then destroys it, and Tsurugi says that he was always looking out for Shou.
Can we just talk about how Shou basically, no, Tsurugi basically says, giant dragon Digimon with a revolver for an arm, can you shoot this child in the head?
Yes, it's really violent.
Because it's a dark Digicore in his head.
Like
That's pretty Persona.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
And how Yatagaramon goes to fight Rise Greymon, and Rise Greymon says, I'm doing this to save Shou, and then Yatagaramon stops, and then Shou's like, what do you do? Why aren't you fighting? Even you're abandoning me?
Yeah.
And then that's when he attacks him with Rhino Revolver, and Shou's head explodes. There's a shot of just his head exploding.
Yeah, and then Shou just kind of passes out, his head intact. I'm just like, I know, it'd still be painful, right?
I assume having a piece of your brain exploded.
Yeah. Then in chapter 17, with one person passing out, another one wakes up, so Yu feels bad and is being pretty unresponsive. Angemon's fighting against Tangdramon, but there's also an Angemon speaking to you at the same time, so this is like these things are happening at different times, and it took me a while to realize that these things, like, he spoke to you before the fight that's happening at the same time, and he's telling him that Trailmon put his life to do his job, and Yu's like, but Trailmon died, and he's just like, well, it was his purpose was to get his passengers to the destination, and he put his whole life into that, so we should be happy that he did what he did. And then we get a pretty good quote, which is, choose something you won't regret, to live is to repeat that process. And that's that's a pretty deep quote. I know it's translated from what it actually is, but and my Japanese is not good enough to see that, but I'm just assuming that's literally what it says. But it's a pretty good quote.
Most likely, yeah.
Like, if this was a high school literature class, I'd be like, write an essay about this quote.
Like a literature club.
Yeah.
Like a Doki Doki literature club.
Oh god, I need to play that.
Oh, please play it. Oh, it's so good.
I've been too busy playing the lesbian visual novel, The Kindred Spirits on the Roof.
What's this? Tell me now, please.
It's about like this girl who's on the roof at school eating lunch, because that's just what she does, and she sees two ghosts who are lesbians, and they're all like, hey, there are all these lesbians in the school who are scared to express their love, and we are unable to move on because when we were in high school we couldn't express our love to the girls we liked. Yeah, I'm just like, I feel like Sporky would really like this.
What is this? I need to play this. This sounds amazing.
Yeah, so it's Kindred Spirits on the Roof, and it's on Steam.
Kindred Spirits on the Roof.
Okay.
Cool. I'll have to get that later.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Yeah, I really like visual novels and dating sims. It's fun. I like the animus. Angemon gets attacked by Chaosdramon in a big attack, and then says that a partner Digimon is the tamer's dream from the heart. He touches the mini, and Yu gets a blue Digivice, and I really like this. I know I say this a lot, but I really like this moment. It's just, it's cute.
There's a lot that happens here. Like, right before we see Angemon is pretty badass. He fights a lot of Commandramon and everything, and then they have their big fight, and this is where we see that Yu also has Chrome Digizoid clothes because he survived. The entire building, like the medical ward or whatever they were in, is just destroyed, and Yu is the only one who's there. And you see Angemon, who's missing an arm and a leg and an eyeball, and even the front panels on his chest, they're gone as well. There's just holes.
Yeah, I really like this use of Chrome Digizoid to say, they're surviving all these attacks because of their clothes, and that's
cute.
We know that Chrome Digizoid is apparently the strongest thing in Digimon besides Imperial Dramon, so it's just like, I don't know, I like this, but it is very plot convenient, but I'm glad they're actually explaining it, because I feel like a lot of media has like, oh yeah, the main character should die from this, but doesn't because main character. It's like, was it World War Z, and the character just his airplane crashed, and like he got shot at, and like he managed to survive everything that happened, and I'm just like, there's no sense. This makes no sense.
Oh, he even gives himself a terminal illness. Like, they have to give him an illness that will kill him. Yeah. Not terminal, sorry. He has to infect himself purposefully with a disease that is terminal in order to plot reasons I won't go into if you haven't seen it. But yeah, no, World War Z is a sort of, he's quite he goes through so much and survives, and it's like people don't survive this sort of thing.
And it's like,
it's a traditional male power fantasy.
That's
just how it works.
Oh yeah. But we're not even given a reason of like, oh yeah, he had Chrome Digizoid clothing. So I'm a big fan of this sort of like, oh yeah, you are wearing, like, we here have some clothes, and then a few chapters later, oh, you survived because of the clothes.
There's a book series I've read called Skullduggery Pleasant. I think I may have mentioned it before, or I've mentioned it to somebody. And it's all set. It's like there's a skeleton detective, and there's magic, and it's all set in Ireland, and it's amazing. But they get given magical clothes, which are resistant to like damage and impact cuts and stuff. And the amount of times that saves their lives. And like even at the start when the main character, she gets given the clothes, she's told, you will need these clothes because they will save your life on so many occasions. And throughout every single book, you know, she flies through glass, she gets thrown off a building, so many things happen, and she only survives because of these clothes. And I love it when things like that happen. It's great.
Yeah, it's very cute.
I like it. So, whereabouts are we? So, you is able to evolve Galmon to Mac Galgamon, and he punches Chaosdramon
Well,
in
we
the
get,
face.
Andromon dies, and this is the second, in this book, it's the second time Yu has had somebody who they know die, try and help them. And right before, like, he gets that moment, he gets the protagonist moment of their friends just died. He's about to scream or be angry or something, and he looks up, determined, and this is character development, and I almost feel like this book is focused on Yu's development, because obviously at the start he has this dark evolution and Black Galgamon thing, and this is a similar situation where his friends just died, and he's like, no, I'm not going to use the emotion I had last time. I'm going to bottle that and use that what it needs to be used for. And then you see him turn and look at Wanyamon, who's still asleep in the tube, and for a small character, this is such a good volume for him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He does so much and he grows so much, and then he has one of the most badass moments in a minute, which I really enjoy. We'll talk about.
Yeah, and it's a nice comparison to when we got the Dark Evolution at the start of the book. It's just, he was full of hatred and just wanted revenge, and now it's sort of, he still wants revenge, but he's more determined, and it's less like, I can't do anything. It's less like, it's sort of like the difference between like, I'm having an anxiety attack to, I'm going to actually fix what's making me anxious. Like, you probably still feel bad, but it's just like, you're being more productive about it, and it's just, I don't know, it's really great, and I really like to see development that isn't just focused on the main character, like the Gold Kid. We're getting something from you, which is like, that's good. He's the kid character. Like, we don't usually get that much from the kid character. Like in Frontier, the kid character was just there, and his brother was kind of like didn't want to hang out with him because he was in university.
The kid character always, to me, seems like the tertiary character. They're always just the person in the background who needs to be protected and saved. And I don't think you gets that treatment, especially now. Like I am hoping that Army gets some in the next book, because she didn't really get any so far.
Oh, she had a little bit in the Onsen one when Pichimon evolved to Marine Angemon, but that's still like, it's not
I suppose
it's not enough though.
Well, the sad thing about
But
Digimon,
I think Shou's gonna steal it.
4 characters.
we never get the much growth for the female, which is sad. Except for Adventure and Atmon.
Oh, Atmon's so
and
good.
Tamers.
Like, if you haven't watched Atmon, watch it, please. It's great.
Atmon's really good.
Eri might overtake Mimi as best girl. Like it's I constantly cannot decide which
It's a
one's
tough
best girl.
choice.
It is they'd be best friends though. Like, why do we have to put them against each other when they can just be best friends?
Eri would go onto Mimi's cooking show and cook something just as awkward, as weird, delicious.
And Mimi would love it. Like, that's the thing. Like, they would just get on
Mimi
so
would
well.
love it.
Oh, I love them so much. So Chaosdramon, we find out, has always hated Shou, and he says that Barbamon says he's disposable, and then Maruxmon is showing up, and he looks pretty scary. Then in chapter 18, Chaosdramon takes Pichimon and Army as hostages because they're the girls, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, haven't you missed the bit with Matt Gargamon appearing?
No, I think I said that's when they evolved, and then we covered the how it was
Oh
good
yeah.
growth.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, I meant like the really badass bit is when Chaosdramon's running to attack, and then he just gets punched in the side of the face by Matt Gargamon.
Yeah, I love that.
That's pretty good.
As much as I love Chaosdramon, I like seeing him being beaten up.
Mm.
So the system world is above, and Chaosdramon is mad that Maruxmon showed up and stole all his glory. Piccolomon shows up to Tsurugi, and Tsurugi says sorry, and Piccolomon hits him, which I love. Barbamon took over the host computer Yggdrasil, which is the system world, and they have to go and get it back to its, and so it can become its original form. So again, we get Yggdrasil, but no Royal Knights.
And a version of Yggdrasil that maybe isn't evil.
Yeah, and he looks like Yggdrasil in Digimon Savers, like the big boxy thing.
Yeah, not a fan.
I think this one's called Yggdrasil D7 or something like that.
Also,
That's from the card game. That's from Digimon Heroes.
At least it's not King Drasil, which is
Oh, God,
still the dumbest.
yeah, King Drasil, not Yggdrasil.
Or at least it's not like an orb.
Yeah, but it's not like a woman either. Thanks, Savers. Like a woman like shaped thing. I just found it really weird. I prefer Yggdrasil being like a non-sentient thing, like it appears to be in Digimon Next, rather than just like a person.
Yeah,
You'd prefer
I don't know, we'll
it to
see
look
about that.
like a non-human.
Yeah, like it's just,
Like it doesn't need gender attributes because it is a computer. It doesn't need to be Sophia the robot.
yeah, like it doesn't need to have sentience. It doesn't need to be evil. Maybe that's why all the other iterations of Yggdrasil have been bad, because they gave it a personality.
I'm fine with with it having a personality, but it always being evil gets to be a really annoying trope.
Yeah, and this one's evil because Barbamon took over the computer of Yggdrasil.
Right.
Shou
That's
says
fine.
says
That
it's
makes
impossible because it's behind a firewall, and Tsurugi has a mad face, and Shou looks really scared at this mad face. Also,
Good luck. I'm behind 7 proxies.
yeah, lots of guard Digimon like Cannon Beamon, and my favorite Digimon, Blade Kuwagamon. Like,
Sword.
like,
Just no knife. It's just knife.
why is he called Kuwagamon? He looks nothing like a Kuwagamon.
It doesn't look like anything. It's just a knife.
You just call him Knifemon. He's a knife. Like, what?
He's in the Pendulum X, or is it the Axle?
Axel. Might be in the X as well.
Okay.
But is in the Axel, yeah. Well, they both have the bigger sprites, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're in both. But yeah.
It just that's where I've seen it, and it just looked weird. It's just a knife with legs.
And it's nice seeing different angles, because I've only ever seen, the pixel and also the art on the Digimon Heroes cards. So we're just kind of like, maybe he does look a bit more like Wagamon on the other side. No, he's just a knife. He's a knife. Like, he's just a knife with a gem on it. Like, why haven't they released this as an actual, like, cutlery?
Oh, I'd buy that.
So Rise Greymon destroys 1,000 knives, and it's in one moment, and then Mac Galgamon does the same thing with all the Cannon Beamon, and this is like...
This reminds me of Globemon again. Like, they scan and go, there's about 1,000 knife Kawagumon, and he's like, I can destroy those, and then just wipes them out really quickly. Great.
It's just like, and it's also, considering we're fighting lots of Cannon Beamon, and remember how Galmon basically almost died.
Deal. Yeah.
Like, it's just sort of like, that was just last volume, and the end of the volume before, but now it's all of a sudden, I can murder thousands of them. Then Tsurugi's Digisoul unlocks the firewall, which is not exactly what I was expecting, because we were told that Rise Greymon opened the firewall, but whatever. I'll accept that. It was pretty cool. What are your thoughts about this now that we've finished Volume 3?
Needs more knowledge.
I really like the pacing. I just, as we've said before, there's no filler in these, and I'm glad they had, especially with you, they had the main characters separated a little bit, and then you got to have his own moment in the spotlight, and I really like Yu's development now. As I said, I'd like some more Army, because she deserves some, because there are literally 4 human characters. She can have some. There's 4 volumes, 4 human characters. Give her some, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Because you got a lot in the last one. A good amount. And the big part of this one, I feel like Shou's going to steal it, though, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, and that's sad. Like, we never get much from the girls. We should. And I want more for Neuron as well. Yeah. I want to know her deal, because I can't remember from when I first read this. That's
got to be coming.
Yeah, I'm also very happy with the development for you, though, because it's a bit of a change between, like, the Gold Kid gets development, and the other kids, I guess, kind of get a reference.
Yeah, there's always the Goggle Kid, the Matt, and nobody else.
Yeah, and Matt in the situation, I guess, is Shou, but
yeah.
Well, that's weird, because if you think like red only, blue only, use the blue ones. Kind of cool.
But like he's also the kid, which is nice. I also want to talk about
nice change of pace.
Matt Galgamon's adorable face when he first evolves. He's got like this little smile, and Yu's all looking like angry but determined, angry, like motivated. And we have like Matt Galgamon's little face. It's adorable. I love him. He's a puppy.
I'm staring at Geogreymon when he's been cut into quarters.
Oh yeah, that's
just his expression is like unbelievable.
It's like the opposite.
It's almost like they set out to have body horror in every I was going to say episode, in every book. They're like, let's see what awful grotesque thing we can do in this book.
For some reason, it reminds me of War Greymon in Adventure murdering Mugendramon, because he split him in half and then devolves to Koromon. But it's like the opposite. This time it's Steel Greymon being cut in 4 pieces. Well, more than 4 pieces. He's cut in quarters.
4 main pieces. Like his arms are cut separate, but that.
I wish they detailed a bit more so we could see like his guts and stuff. That'd be pretty cool, but very gory.
Yeah, they probably couldn't get away with that.
Yeah, I mean, you almost can with like his mouth. Like you can see sort of like some stuff going on, but horrifying, really horrifying, truly horrifying. I kind of love it though. Like it sets the stakes.
Yeah, it's such a nice change.
Also, I love Chaos Ramon. Like I don't know, he's also really cute in the Crossloader toy. I love him.
Oh yeah. Is he one of the leaders or is he one of the units?
I think he's one of the leaders from memory. I was just playing with the other day and I just noticed he's like chibi. They make all the characters chibi. So Chaos Ramon's far too cute.
Yeah, mine broke. My Pendulum X and my Crossloader both got damaged for stuff.
Yikes.
And the Crossloader's hard to fix. So I think I have to get a new one. But they're really nice in that. They all look really cute, adorable.
Also, speaking of body horror, we have the body horror of Andromon with like his everything falling off. Like he's only got one arm. His skin's peeling off.
Nice.
It's because considering how horrifying Andromon actually is, it's like he's got skin showing. This one's got his skin peeling off to reveal like more machine. It's horrifying.
I've never heard of a Murmixmon before, so that's neat.
I think I have.
You know what? I've not seen them before in anything else. I don't know what else I've seen them in, but I've never seen them.
I have a feeling he might have been a boss at some point in Digimon World 2003, maybe.
That's fair.
Like,
I
I'll
thought
need
that
to
was
look it up.
interesting.
But,
There
like,
haven't been too many.
There are a lot of Digimon that are just sort of like have shown up in one thing or were just in the card game and were never seen elsewhere that have pretty good designs. Also, I really love Galmon's face. Like, Galmon for some reason in the manga seems like a bit cuter than in Sabers. Like his snout seems shorter. It's really cute. Big fan.
He doesn't seem as large in this. Like he in Savers, he's quite big and his head's quite huge. In this, he looks smaller proportionally, which is nice. In Savers, they all seem giant, bigger than big.
It's cute though. I know. I'm really enjoying this, and it's the next time is the final volume, and like I know that seems very quick.
But it's only 4, and I think they've done a really good job of setting up a story, giving us a story, and giving us interesting chapters. Each chapter's really good. You couldn't take anything out of any chapter. It's all important, and they've obviously left it in such a way now that obviously Barbamon's got so many of the Digimemories.
Like he's winning, the Digimemories, the Digicards, if you will.
And then the only ones that the main characters have now are connected to their Digimon. So the only way Barbamon can get more is if he kills any of them. Because with Shou on their side now, they've got Water one, the Beast one, the Dragon one, Bird one.
Also, like I don't know what shows like trying like, oh yes, Pekmon's my friend, and I will protect him. Like, dude, I'm pretty sure that your good friend Barbamon's going to murder him to get his Digimemory out of him. Like, I don't know why Shou hasn't considered that as a possibility ever.
Yeah, that's
it's weird that they have
definitely
them
a thing.
in them, and then people like Andromon have them in a keychain. Like, imagine finding somebody and you go, I have got the Digimemory of Dragon inside me. You cannot get it from me. And then someone else is like, I've got this keychain. I can give it to anybody, so like I don't have to die. And I'm like, what?
Like, it's cool, but yeah, no, if you want it.
Any other thoughts or favorite bits?
I think this one has to be my favorite one so far.
Mine too.
I like that Tsurugi sacrificed himself, essentially jumping into the unknown with Geo Greymon and came out with Rise Greymon.
That's a good scene.
I like that Shou is now on the good side because of his, like, we find out that he wasn't always evil. He's controlled and corrupted like Ken. This is good, which means that he can now, they don't have to question his loyalty to the good side because they've destroyed the thing that made him loyal to the bad side. I really like Yu's development in this. Really good, really solid especially compared to like Tsurugi, who's had it like low progression throughout the entire series so far. Yu's got it pretty much all crammed into this one book. It's really good.
And I don't.
He's a much better Tomoki.
Yeah, as like the negatives, like I feel like did Ami do anything in this? Like in this volume?
That's my only negative is that she just doesn't get any time to do anything. She basically only ever reacts to anything somebody says, and then she's like the only bit of development we get is that one bit where we learn she reset her virtual pet once.
Yeah,
and something tells me that's never
fine,
going to be mentioned again. But that's so against her character.
Yeah, I don't think it'll get mentioned again, which is sad because I would like to know what was the circumstance. Like, was it a mistake? Was it something on purpose? Was it her first Digimon that she reset, and then she felt so bad that's why she's like, oh, they're my family. I would never fight them. I don't want them to die. Like that'd be great.
Especially the way she is with everything, you can see that one. Now she learns that these virtual pets that she raised are real and have lives. That should weigh on her, but instead it's played with this little comic moment where she's like, "Ooh, I did that once." Whoops.
Also,
I hope it's not just that.
The art pointed to Pichimon, so maybe Pichimon was actually the Digimon she killed.
That'd be interesting.
That would be
like,
interesting.
That's the next one.
I don't know. That'd be interesting if we had that. But for this one, she was just kind of there. I mean, you got some. Shou got a bunch. Tsurugi got like his bravery moments. Norom didn't get much, but I think that's her sort of deal-ish that she's an unknown. But I don't know. Army didn't get anything, and that is disappointing. But it was still my favorite volume so far, and I hope that volume 4 is as good. So I'm pretty done with my thoughts. I'm wanting to read volume 4 now because I'm hyped and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see what they do with Noron.
Yeah, hopefully they find something to run with. Get it?
I'm looking forward to it because I don't really remember how this ends. I know some things that happen, like vague things, but apart from that, I can't remember what happened, and I'm really excited for it. It's really good.
Me too. Well, I'm going to be recording the outro, so thank you to my wonderful guest Sam and Sporky for coming on again to talk about Digimon Next.
Thanks for having me.
And
yeah, thanks.
And like, I hope everyone enjoyed that. I hope. I mean, I'm really sad that we don't have an official release of Digimon Next, and I would always like to see an anime version of all the manga. like V-Tamer as well. But I just
definitely.
It's sad that we don't have an official release, like an official English release. Like I have it in Japanese, and it is good to have like physically. But and until I'm fluent in Japanese, I'm just kind of like I can only read a little bit of it.
Little bits, yeah.
But it's enough. Like it's I could read all through an illustrator. I think.
I think the best way to support it is if you're going to read it online with the scanlations because you have to.
Yeah.
But if you're going to read them, go and buy a box of Atmon chips or something.
Yeah, like buy or buy. See if you can find Digimon Next on you can find one from Japan at least. So at least you can say that you have the physical one. Like support Digimon in some way. Like buy the Atmon manga. You can still buy that from like the source. Like it's not secondhand. You can still buy Digimon stuff. So like support Digimon at least. And I mean I do. I'd probably support Digimon for multiple people. But yeah. So
yeah, I think you buy about 10 people's worth of Digimon merchandise.
I'm single-handedly funding like Atmon and Tri together. So it's my fault that Tri's bad.
Have you pre-ordered the CSA Digivice, the new?
Is it up for pre-order already?
I don't know, but like, are you going to?
Yes.
Okay, it's not just me then.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, still Digimon. Also, like, I can still hope that Chapter 6 is going to be good.
I need to see what sound clips are on it, because what if there's something important there?
Also, they look kind of nice. Looks like Tron, though.
I like it. Yeah, I like Tron, though. So.
Alright, well, I'm going to move on to the outro now. So it means I'm jumping out of Discord. So thanks for coming and recording with me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That's fine. See you later, folks. Have a good...
Hi, just May with a quick update. So when I was editing this, there was some weird staticky sounds coming from Sam's mic, so I had to try to edit that out. There's still some that remains, but it's a lot better than it was in the original recording. Unfortunately, in the process of doing all that, I sort of decreased the overall quality. It's sort of almost sounds like we're speaking like kind of like with something covering our mouths a bit. So that's a bit weird, so apologies for that. I just thought I'd edit in a quick apology about that. And I managed to grab the outro part from my own personal recording, so without that staticky bit. So my own recording sounds a bit better. The reason I had to sort of edit all of them together is to remove that staticky bit is because like it would mess up the tracking and it wasn't synced. So in order to have it synced still, I had to remove the static of the combined one, so that's why all three of us have decreased quality of audio, not just Sam. So yeah, apologies for that. Alright, on to the outro. So next time we'll be reading the volume 4 of Next, which is the final volume for Next. The link dump's linked in the description. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we would appreciate if you would review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and any other podcast listening app that you use, because ratings really assist people finding out about the podcast. And we have a website, vote weekly polls, check out our release schedule, and check out our blog posts, though we don't really do weekly polls anymore, we still have polls. I just haven't changed that in the segment guide. Whoops. You can also donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month, which gets you access to a list of Slack chat group, but there are higher levels, more rewards such as notes, early episodes, and more. And thanks to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who was just on this podcast, but he also posts a podcast about Digimon and Pokemon with Stevie called The Moncast. Stevie is also Stevie Patamon on Tumblr and takes commissions. Metamamimon, Joe, Anime Guy, who's Anime Guy Kurosaki the #1 on YouTube, Shakamon, Hirolato, who is Hirolato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who's Frost Moragic on Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeves, who's @Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kadawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Kyle, Delady Bugman, who you can find his anime blog on bugabrogu.wordpress.com, Tom, Glitchgoat, Astronomical Cool, Gian Hackmon, who hosts New World Sonata, a sci-fi fantasy audio drama podcast, Matthew, Anthony, who is Anthony, who is @Andoclassic on Twitter, Lismet, Alekmon, who is Alekmon on Tumblr. I'm struggling. Sithobi, Alivorg, who is Alivorg on Tumblr, Sporky McForkinspoon, who was just on this podcast and who hosts a Digimon podcast called Going Digital, Megan, Kaliak, Neobu, The Time Optimist, Silverhead Freak 25, who is @SHF25 tweets on Twitter, Harvey, Nicholas, Anthony, and Harrison. You can also make a donation on our PayPal, which can be found in the description. It is paypal.me/Edgemon. Make sure to listen to the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!